What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Love and Rice podcast with your host, Aunt Ma.
And I'm your other host, Christina Ma.
And we have been doing 5 episodes already. Dude, thank you guys for listening to the podcast. We appreciate you guys. And if you're new to this, follow us on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Castbox. We do 1-hour episodes every Wednesday at 6 a.m. Pacific. And then we also upload 15-minute videos of these podcasts on YouTube from Wednesday to Monday. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Let us know where you're listening to the podcast. I know on Spotify, you guys can comment on there. Also, if you want to comment what kind of guests that you want to have on here, we can go ahead and try and reach out to the guests as well.
Yeah, I also like the engagement that we're getting in the comments too. And I like that people are actually giving us feedback on like what topics that they want to talk about or that they want us to talk about. And I also like that they're actually telling us their stories and how they can relate to our stories too.
Yes, I've been seeing a lot of those comments on YouTube. So shout out to you guys who watch our 15-minute videos on YouTube. We do enjoy reading the comments and relating with you guys. It's pretty awesome. And so in today's episode, we're going to be talking about if we were prepared to have children. You know, do you remember the time when pretty much we're in the hospital?
Yeah.
And you were giving birth, right?
Yes.
And the moment Leia came out, that's when everything just kind of like the whole room just darkened and got blurry, and all the focus was on spotlight of the baby coming at you, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like what was that feeling that you had as you saw the baby coming towards you?
So I think for me, it was all that hard work and like exhaustion of like pushing her out and finally seeing her. So it was kind of like, oh, like everything that I went through, the pain and just like being so tired. Like I was just so happy to see that she was okay, that she was crying, that she was breathing, you know? And I just wanted to hold her. That was like my only instinct. And I think that might be the difference with me being a mom and you probably being the dad, and you're just watching it from the sidelines. And I just remember you were so like shocked.
The way you describe this whole thing feels like it's a sport, and it almost sounds like
Kind of is.
when you first saw her, it's like you're getting your trophy or your first place medal.
Yeah, because it
Really?
actually really is a sport. Because I am like, how long was I pushing for? A long time.
I don't remember at all.
It was exhausting too.
Wait, do
And
you remember how long you were pushing for?
I want to say at least half an hour.
Half an hour?
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys, when you are pushing, okay, for all the mom and dads out there, it's not like how it is on TV. All right. So basically, on TV, they're like, you just hear people like yelling, push, and that's like that for the entire time. But it's really like, okay, let's wait for you to dilate first, or no, what was it? Oh, let's
Get contractions.
Yeah, let's wait for this contraction to come. Okay, it'll be here in about 2 minutes. All right, in 2 minutes, you got about 30 seconds to push. Okay, here it comes. Now push for 30 seconds. And it's like, push.
I mean, it's not that calm.
Right. And then after 30 seconds, like, all right, let's wait for the next contraction, which is in another 2 minutes.
You know what,
so
though?
it's really slow and actually pretty boring.
I think it might be different because I got the epidural, but I feel like the way you're describing it in the movies is for the moms that don't get any like epidurals at all.
Oh, I see.
So it's kind of more intense, right? Because you just feel the pain all the time. I remember when I was pregnant with Enzo and we had a lady in the next room and she definitely did not get the epidural. And she was like crying and moaning and yelling the whole time trying to get the baby out. Do you remember that?
I do. So, okay. So during that moment, you're probably like, oh, thank God I got the epidural, right?
Actually, no. Because with my incident, which is not a common thing, but like when I got the epidural, do you remember that, it was my first time getting it. I didn't know what to expect, but like only one side of my body was numb. And it was such a weird feeling because this side felt great, but on the right side, I felt everything. I felt every contraction. I felt all the pressure when I was pushing her out. Like it just hurt So I felt the full pain on the right side, and the left side was just like I couldn't do anything.
You know, this is the second story that I've heard this week, right? I've heard another friend who just went through it. They had like a C-section and they had that same problem.
And that's with a C-section.
Yeah, and I feel like the anesthesiologist, when they put the epidural in, they didn't put it in the right spot, or it's just common that sometimes some women are just like that. And like they should know that. Like this isn't just once in a lifetime that's happened to this anesthesiologist.
Yeah, I think it's not so much of the woman. I think it is because of the position of the needle.
Right.
Which may be a hard thing to do, but you would feel... So I think the issue is that it's with the newer anesthesiologists, like because they don't know exactly where to be putting the needle. So if they put it like 1 centimeter from where they should be putting it, like it completely changes the effect of it.
Why are they even allowed to do that? And then if they messed up, why can't they just say, you know what, this has happened before? Instead of being like, I don't know. Do you want more? You know?
Yeah.
It's like, dude.
Yeah. And then I kept asking for more, right? I kept pushing that button to get it. But then this, I just kept getting more numb. But this one, I still felt it. Like it made no difference. So I don't know. It was kind of traumatizing for me.
Okay, well, let's say that you did get it like perfectly done.
Yeah.
Where like you didn't feel anything at all. And you know, hearing the other lady in the other room like screaming for her life, you know, would you recommend it to other people? Okay. So what I'm trying to get at is every day you tell me my back hurts. You know?
That's true.
And you're like, it's definitely from that epidural. And we're talking about like, this is 5 years later after having a baby.
Yeah.
And you're still like, my back hurts.
Yeah, and I always just thought that maybe it was because I've always had back issues. But then I hear other people too, and then they complain about their back pains. I'm like, oh, did you get the epidural? And they're like, oh, yeah, I did. And we just kind of figured that was like the common denominator. And I think just like recently, just like a few weeks ago, right, I was complaining to you about my back hurting, but I was like, it just kind of feels different because I got the epidural twice.
Yeah.
So it's like a different kind of pain. It's like icky.
My mom has always said the same thing. So I have never ever been bowling with my mom in my entire life because she said her back hurts. And I mean, it's from giving birth. Yeah, but that was C-section.
But still.
But you know, anyways, you know, I guess that's something that you could never be prepared for.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of moms tell you don't get the epidural because you don't want to get messed up like that for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just really depends because I don't know how I would have been. Like, I couldn't picture myself not getting it during labor and like having to feel all that pain like throughout my entire body because it just sounds so painful.
So scientifically, they say that, you know, that doesn't correlate, right? Like the back pain you have now doesn't correlate from getting the epidural. Scientifically, that's what they say, right? But we say differently.
Yeah.
And so now knowing that you have this pain, what would you tell other moms? Like, should they get it or should they stick it through without epidural? Like, how can you prepare them for that?
Honestly,
what would you do again?
I would still get the epidural.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I feel like it just depends on people's pain tolerance. And I feel like I actually have a really good pain tolerance, but I just don't... I think dealing with the back pain, because it's just like an achy kind of pain. It's not like a, oh my gosh, like unbearable kind of pain.
Oh, I see. It looks unbearable when you tell me.
Well, because I have like a combination of back problems. I have scoliosis too, so it just all kind of like combined. But honestly, I think that pain, I can deal with that instead of like going through the pain of going through labor.
Yeah.
Like that scares me.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so I guess you're more prepared than I was. For me, the moment you pushed Leia out and the moment you got to hold her and you were so relieved and happy, and I don't even know if you cried or not. I don't remember because it's 5 years ago.
I don't know. I feel like, no, we both cried.
I don't know if I did.
Yeah, you cried.
No, we got to go back and watch our YouTube video. It's on our YouTube and we'll watch the birth story of Leia and see if I cried or not. But what I remember is the doctor said, all right, Dad, it's your turn to hold your daughter. Mm-hmm. And so I went to go wash my hands at the sink. And the moment I went to wash my hands at the sink, like, okay, before all that, I was so excited and happy to have a kid. Okay. I was probably the one that was like, let's have a baby. And now we have a daughter. When we had the miscarriage, I cried so much because, you know, that was our first.
I know.
Right?
We're so excited.
Coming into this moment, I should be super excited, right? And I was until the moment I got to the sink to wash my hands. And when I started washing my hands, I froze.
No, oh yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
I've never had cold feet in my life, but I just felt very white and scared. And I was like, oh my God, what did I just do? I have a baby. Like, I was just like, I did something wrong, you know?
Yeah, I think you're just like, I think it just hit you so hard because just seeing her out there, you're just like, oh my gosh, there's no turning back. Like, we have this baby now and we can't give her back.
That was the exact feeling, was like, there's no turning back. And I super freaked out. And like, I guess this is when people get cold feet when they're trying to get married and they walk away from it, you know? But I didn't get the feeling of walking away, but I was just like, oh my God, like, you know, I can't believe this.
Yeah.
I just thought that I was just like, what am I doing? You know, like, am I even ready for this? Like, all these things just ran through my head in like 10 seconds. And then I finished washing my hands, and then I turned around and I held the baby, and I was like, this is the best thing ever.
Was that when you had to cut the umbilical cord? Did you do that? Because I honestly don't even remember.
I don't remember. I don't think I did.
You didn't?
If I can't remember, that means I don't think I did.
Oh, I kind of almost feel like you did, but I guess that's one thing to prepare for too.
Did I?
I feel like you did.
See, this is why we're talking about what?
I kind of feel I kind of remember. I think like the doctor let you do a little bit, like just to get that feeling, and you couldn't cut it.
It was all squishy.
Yeah, I think that's normal.
Oh yes,
right?
I remember that.
Right, and then they help you do it. So you know,
it's like when you get those like dull scissors and you're trying to cut like food, and then it never cuts, and you're like, what the heck? I need to buy some new food scissors.
Ew, that is such a weird comparison.
That's exactly how it felt, you know. But man, like, this is why we talk about how prepared we weren't for this moment, you know? And even before giving birth, while you're pregnant, we try to prepare as much as possible, right? Like, you buy all these baby things, you have a baby shower, there's a baby registry, and you have 100 items that, you know, will help you.
Yeah.
And then you have your hospital bag that you're packing in case you got to go to the hospital any day. And so we thought that we were so prepared.
Right.
And I don't think, like, nothing prepares you for the mental aspect of it.
Yeah, I just feel like you can prepare yourself so much for it, but then it's kind of like once the baby's here, you're just kind of like in a different mindset. But I felt like we actually prepared ourselves pretty well for being the first kid, because when we had to prepare like the house, right? We had a house. Oh my gosh, just thinking back, we had our first home, right? Mm-hmm. It was a smaller house. It was less than 1,000 square feet. And during that time, we were actually in the middle of getting another house, a bigger house.
Yeah.
Right. So I felt like we kind of prepared there, but just like even going back to like minor things, right? I felt like with the baby shower, for example, you know, we had to research a lot of things. We were going through different like brands, different types of products, and kind of like looking at the reviews to see like what is a good product to add onto the registry. So I feel like that's a huge thing, because a lot of those items that we put on there, it was very essential. We needed to use them like as soon as Leia was here.
Okay, so when we had certain items, I was like, oh, I'm so happy that we actually have this melody swinging rocking thing.
Oh my gosh.
Because then we don't have to keep rocking the baby while she's crying or rock her to sleep. We just put her into the swing thing. And yeah, when I had that, I was like, oh, this is the best thing. But it wasn't like preparation, because when we had like the first days of bringing her back home, it was all like, what do we do now? How do we do this? What are we supposed to do? Is this the right way? They were teaching us how to, you know,
do the swaddle.
The swaddle. I wasn't doing that right. They're teaching us how to get her to stop crying. How come the nurse that was coming in could get Leia to stop crying in like 5 seconds and we couldn't?
Because they deliver babies all the time. This is what they do like on a daily basis.
And that's what I wasn't prepared for. Like all those moments of like being new to parenthood.
And then when you're at the hospital, like you don't realize like how great it is to be able to get all the help that you can, like from the nurse. I just remember them like always waking us up and checking on Leia, and I was so exhausted. I'm trying to like heal from just giving birth, and now that I think about it, I'm like, oh, they were coming in and they were helping us to check on her, make sure she's okay. They give her a bath, showed us how to do it, change her diapers.
Oh
and
my
things
gosh.
like that. Like they taught us all of these things.
One of the things that scared me the most was giving Leia her first bath.
Oh yeah.
That's so scary because I'm like, oh, is she too cold?
I know.
Is this too much water?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? And they're crying like a lot of the times.
Yeah. And then especially when the nurse was showing us how to like wash her head, because their head is so soft and she was so tiny, and it was like very narrow because like she just got pushed out of me, So
yeah.
it was like barely just starting to form. So you're just trying to figure out like how much soap to put, how much pressure to apply, how do you like position the
I know
baby?
the head is so soft, and it's scary because then you gotta put your fingertips underneath the head and the neck, and it's so small, and you're just like,
and you're so scared. This is our first time holding like a baby that small, so you have to like try to like get comfortable and prepare them. Like you want to hold them in a good comfortable position for the both of you, and then you also want to like support the head and the neck because it's like there's no support.
So I remember that how stressful the first week was, and even the first month, while we had this newborn. And it's like a million things in one because you're stressed about all the stuff we just spoke about. And then now we have each other that like we're just not even dealing with each other. We're dealing with all the other stress and the baby and stuff. Right. And I remember like we got in the biggest argument ever. I don't remember what it was about.
I don't remember.
I remember it was like the first, and I told all my friends after this, I was like, all right, guys, in your first 3 days, you are getting in a fight with your spouse about this baby. Don't take it out on each other. It's because of all the stress that you're going through.
I don't remember getting to a big fight, but I mean, for you to be giving people advice like that, it must have been something. But I just remember
it was like, you don't do this, you don't do that, no, da da da.
Oh, so that's like, what? That's one huge thing. Like when you have a baby, you have to like try to work around each other's like expectations because everyone has their own ways of raising a child. And it could have been something as simple as you don't change her diaper like that, or you don't give her a bath like that. Something, right?
It was something. I mean, even to this day, we are a team and we're doing things right together, but we are still doing things differently.
Right.
And we're not fully on the same page in terms of parenting.
Yeah.
And that's like, we're 5 years in and we're still like, you can never be prepared for this, guys.
Yeah. And I think every kid is different too. So it's kind of like you kind of pick and choose how you want to like raise them and certain things that you want to do. And sometimes you might want to figure out like what's more convenient or, like just whatever makes you happier or more comfortable.
It's definitely what makes you happy because right now we're in this phase of Enzo, he goes, Mommy, I want to sleep with you tonight. And then Leia goes, no, I want Mommy to sleep with me tonight. And I'm like, guys, go to bed, lay down, close your eyes. No one's sleeping with you. Good night.
Yeah.
And then I'll walk out. And then you're like catering to Enzo and you lay in bed with him for 5 minutes. And then you go to Leia and you lay with her for 5 minutes. And after all that's done and you leave both of them, they're like, I don't want to sleep alone.
That's not like, all the time though.
Like this is what I'm trying to say. Like let them just sleep on their own.
I know, but it's just kind of nice because like that's my actual downtime with them where I'm not doing anything. And I feel like that's when they want to have like conversations or tell me about their day. So I feel like that's my way of connecting with them and just like giving them reassurance to like be comfortable while they sleep. Because right now Leia is like waking up and she has like nightmares and stuff. Like she came into our room last night and the whole time she kept waking up and she just like, she nudged me, Mom, I don't like my dream.
Oh,
like
what was it?
She was like, oh, monsters were eating my friends. And I was like, it's okay, just go to sleep, So it's stuff like that because they're so like vulnerable with me and they tell me all these things that they go through. I don't know if they do the same with you. So I'm like, okay, let Mom like nurture you and just let you know that you're okay.
I was just thinking about this dream that Enzo had he was sick like 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
and he was getting these nightmares because I think he was sick. Like when I was a kid and when I had fevers, I always had this one nightmare where spiders were crawling all over the ceiling, all over me, and then I would wake up during this nightmare, and as I would take every step, I could feel every vibration of my body because it's just a weird feeling. And so Enzo, I knew it was from his fever because he would be sleeping and he's like, ah.
Oh my God.
And then he's holding his elbows up like this while he's laying down in bed. I'm like, what are you doing? Monsters eating my elbows.
Oh my
They're going to eat my elbows. And he's like, ah. And I'm like, this guy looks like he's having a night terror right now.
I don't think I've ever experienced that. Usually if there's monsters in my dream, like they're just chasing me. Or I think my biggest nightmare that I would always have was constantly like just falling from something. Like I would be at the mall and I'll fall off like the second story. Or I would...
the mall?
Yeah, or I'm walking on the sidewalk and this is the dumbest thing. But like, you know how they had those gutters, the openings?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would literally have nightmares all the time. That was probably the biggest one I would have. And I would just like all of a sudden end up in there.
Is that why you don't watch the movie It with me?
I'm never going to watch that movie with you ever.
No, we got to start watching scary movies together. Okay, that's part of building a relationship.
No,
Oh
not
my
happening.
God.
Yeah, right. If you don't want to sleep and you want me to wake you up in the middle of the night to be like, hey, I
No.
need the bathroom. Can you?
You can just go sleep with the kids then. Forget it.
Then I
Forget it.
will.
Oh my gosh. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And make sure to follow us on Love and Rice Podcast on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Google, Castbox, and also on YouTube. Please comment, guys, what topics you want us to talk about and what guests you want to have on next on this channel. So till then, we'll see you on the next episode of Love and Rice.